is my most unwoke take on immigration here in America. And for context, I'm somebody that believes that I don't, believe in borders really. I don't even really believe in cities as a concept, and that, we all are from Earth. Even when people ask me where I'm from, I say Earth, right? And because we are all one as humans. That's where I can see myself being welcoming and open. And that's why I am pro immigration. But my most unwoke take is that, and you can see this in the numbers from the local elections and the national elections, when folks migrate to America, they oftentimes have two things that end up being a big problem. Especially if you're a black person in America. One, a lot of these folks end up voting conservative, adopting conservative values, and using their immigrant status or their person of color status to lend more validity to conservative issues. So that ends up being a problem later down the line that we have to end up fighting. Then the second part is racism. There's a large amount of racism you can pick a country, pick a continent where folks migrate from to America, and they bring these racists, particularly to black folks, black Americans, this racist mindset. So it's like the racism starts to reset, and to feel American, folks need to adopt white supremacy. And the most kind of easy way of doing that is, punching down at black American folks. And I see this all the time. Other folks might not see it because maybe they're not black. Maybe they don't live in a place with a high amount of immigrants. But people are like, New York, it's so diverse. We got all these different people. Yo, look at this photo. It's a Hasidic person next to a young black dude. They miss all of the actual racism that goes on and the microaggressions that are never ending. It seems like they go up as you bring new folks from a different culture into our culture, and in their culture, it's okay to think that way. It's okay to be racist. So they perpetuate that.
I don't really know what you are ethnically, but it's looking like cracker.
I think folks don't realize just how much more racist the Middle East is, even compared to the West. So, for example, if Akash goes, the only difference between him and the migrant is his passport. And that's the only thing that gets him treated like a human being.
Why?
Because your people
smarter than those.
Jesus, bro.
Hey, y'all want to be racist to me? I can throw it right back. I don't have a single in this seat, but you know what it is.
Behave, Browns. Everybody calm down, okay? Now, you're saying the migrants are from India, so they're going to treat him like
Yeah. They're from India, Pakistan, East Africa, like Southern Asia. And so they'll use all these people to come down and work, but like they treat them like garbage. You're relegated to certain neighborhoods. You can't get out. If you try to move anywhere else, they'll bar you from it. Damn. But like, if they find out his passport's from any of those countries, he getting fucked up.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, and you're saying that this type of treatment exists all throughout the Middle East?
Oh yeah.
So
for example,
second class history?
So for example, even if you go to Lebanon, all right, I'm just taking an example. Lebanon, the Lebanese people don't get.
Some Arabs are more racist than white people, and let's talk about that. Let's talk about how my aunt called me Shaghle Led when I went to Lebanon. Let's talk about how they tell me to stay out of the sun because I'm already too dark. Let's talk about how I want my best friend to come with me to Lebanon, but I'd rather spare her a terrible experience. Let's talk about how if I fell in love with a black guy and married him, how hard that would be for me, how hard it would be for him, how many hurdles we would both have to jump through, how I really wouldn't want him around my extended family because I wouldn't feel comfortable and he wouldn't feel comfortable. It's really gross. Maybe we should start taking some accountability and stop denying it.
Of course, because Arabs are racist as
Okay, not all Arabs are racist. But you do have to understand that in the Middle East, that's where the original slave trade was. So, it's kind of trickled down over the years.
For example, my father told me, all black men will leave their wives, this man will leave you. My mother told me, all black people have AIDS. Like, those things are not true, first of all. Well, my father did not approve of my marriage to my husband.
And why
my
not?
father, because he's black.
Oh.
So there's a lot of racism in the Arab, like I said, the culture. Islam says no black man is better than an Arab man. No Arab man is better than a black man. But my father and my mother were adamant against, no, he's black. No, they didn't even give him a chance. They didn't meet him. They didn't, give him an opportunity. And that hurt. But When something is wrong, it's wrong. So you got to stand up against it.
A lot of people don't understand when I say that Mexicans are culturally racist. They think that I'm calling us openly racist. We are culturally racist, and this is how. Part of our culture is to frown upon dark-skinned people. It's been passed down to us by the Spaniards, by our colonizers, by the people that conquered us, taught us that dark skin is inferior, light skin is superior. We were taught that. It was passed down to us, meaning it's part of our culture. We are culturally racist in this aspect. That doesn't mean I go out in the streets and want to hurt black people because they're black.
Right, right.
It means that our teachings, the way we're raised, is that we are raised to subconsciously believe that dark skin is inferior and light skin is superior. Another element in our Mexican culture is Univision News, Univision channel. That channel is run by white Latinos. The ideologies and subliminal teachings that they teach is very similar to Fox News. White supremacist-ish. They make efforts to depict dark-skinned people as criminals, that whenever they even bother sharing news about dark-skinned people is when they do something wrong. But yet, when they want to mention anything that has to do with light-skinned people, specifically white people, is to depict them as them doing good deeds around the world, feeding the homeless, etc. You get it.
Yeah.
My grandmother was visiting one day from Mexico. She's never lived in the United States. She has no idea what life is out here. She was watching Univision News, where they depicted a black American committing a crime. She turned around and said, "Oye, estos negros solo estorban, ¿verdad? Hey, these black folks, all they do is get in the way, huh?" Here's the interesting part. She's never met a black person in her life. She has no idea what it's like to interact with a black person, but yet she already has an opinion about black people as a whole. Why? Because part of our culture, in this particular case, Univision News, since we were children, we have been subliminally taught that blacks are bad, criminals, etc. And whites are good, decent, giving, saviors, etc. We're taught that. Hearing her express such a hateful remark about a people that I knew for a fact she's never even interacted with. You don't even know a black person. How dare you come here to this country and have a whole opinion about these people? I resented her deeply for it. I regret it because you can't hate her for that. She never got the opportunity to learn what you have. I got the privilege of learning things that I self-taught. Since she's been a child, she's been working in the fields. Never had the opportunity to sit and read a book to educate, nothing. All she ever has to teach her anything was this racist, biased news program. How could I blame her? She doesn't even know any better. And even if I sat with her today, I don't even think I could help her understand at this point, because she has lived 80 years worth of only understanding this mentality. A lot of people go to their graves thinking this is normal.
Indians will come here, some Indians will come here and shit on African Americans.
Oh, yeah.
And you would think coming from that, you'd be like empathetic.
Because the colonization mentality is not gone. Like, I mean, we were talking about it earlier, like how many Indian people, uncles, told us that what British did to us was right.
Yeah,
they were like,
this is
British
the whole
people
thing.
saved us. These people
I mean,
grew up
that's the
thinking-
propaganda to make it seem like they're even like when white people free black people, they made themselves seem like they're the victors. Like, oh no, we freed you. It's like, yeah, but you also captured us.
Earlier this week, an Indian lady went viral in Pinole, California, which is right by Hercules, not too far from Oakland in the Bay Area, going towards Berkeley. She was getting into a situation with a black woman, and she was inside of her car.
I won't out where you say that, bitch. You got me up. I'm sending
going into a asking if you good. You been staring at me. With your eyelashes. I don't I don't get out of my face, you.
Hi friends, I hadn't planned on making another video right now, but Indian people are coming for me in my comments. And, you know, so I know I'm on the right track with what I'm saying. But what I want to talk about in this specific video is Indian people and anti-Black racism specifically. So whether this is within the country of India, or whether this is when Indian people immigrate to any part of the world, whether it be on the African continent, in North America, South America, wherever, Indian people have, and again, I'm not saying every single Indian person, but I'm talking about Indian people generally, our society, our culture, the belief systems that Indian people hold, etc. Indian people are extremely, extremely racist, especially towards Black people. And if you take a Black person who has been around Indian people for any period of time, Black people pick up on this. It's something that is, this is not a secret. Whether you're talking to, say African students who study in India, which there are African students who are there, or whether you're talking about, say, you know, Kenyans. There's a large population of Kenya that are Indian people that have immigrated to that country, or South Africa, or Canada, or, you know, the United States, whatever. But Black people pick up on Indian people's racism because it is quite apparent. It's something that that is there. It's obvious. So I'm just going to give you an example of me, my family, and the Indian people in South Africa. When I grew up there, I spent the first 12 years of my life under apartheid. So we had servants, maids, cooks, gardeners, etc. And all of these people were Africans. They were Black people. And all of the Indians in South Africa had servants. Okay, they were all Black. Now, how were these servants treated? They were treated as subhuman. They were not considered to be human beings with feelings. They drank out of different cups. So Indian people would not share their table with the servants, who were an integral part of their household. They took care of their children. They drove them everywhere. They cooked for them. But they had to eat off of separate dishes. They could not sit on the furniture. They, say, for example, when we left our home and we traveled, so we lived in Pietermaritzburg, we traveled to Durban on the weekends, holidays, whatever. Our maid would come with us. She was not allowed to sleep on or sit on our furniture or sleep on our furniture, so she had to sleep on the floor. These are things that all Indian people did in South Africa. And now I'm just talking about South Africa. I'm not talking about, say, when Indian people immigrate to other countries. But this is true even in first generation Indians. Because, say, if an Indian person had to marry a Black person, 9 times out of 10, that Indian person's family is going to completely disown the Indian person who married a Black person. Now, Indian people generally, they want Indian people to marry within their, you know, they want Indian people to marry other Indian people, and then they even go into, like, well, they want, you know, the same caste, and they even have subcastes and all of this stuff. So, but if an Indian person marries a white person, or say an Asian person, it's not considered to be as heinous of an act as if an Indian person married a Black person. So this can be tied to the caste system because, like I mentioned in my previous video, Indian people are racist towards other Indian people. And some of this is based on skin color. It's not entirely based on skin color, but there is a factor that is, that is apparent in that. So Ava DuVernay made a movie called Origin, and it's based on Isabel Wilkerson's book Caste, which somebody just pointed out. And it's very difficult for me to talk about these very heavy topics in 10 minutes. So I can't cover everything, but Indian people are inherently racist as a culture and as a society. And then within that racism, there is a hierarchy. So yes, while an Indian person, an Indian society might be racist towards Western people, Western culture, white people, etc., just like Vivek Ramaswamy making that comment about how, he made all these disparaging comments about, Americans. And he was talking about white Americans, how they're not as smart and blah, blah, blah. These are not uncommon things that Indian people say within themselves. I have been privy to these conversations in whether it's, say a friend situation or families or extended families or just in my Indian community. These are very common beliefs that most all Indian people will espouse. They will say things like, well, white people have no culture. Their food is horrible. They just go on and on and on. But when it comes to Black people specifically, Indian people have extremely racist views about Black people. And it doesn't matter how nice this Black person is, how educated they might be. None of those things matter. And that's why I say that a lot of Indian people, they align themselves with a very far right-wing kind of Trump ideology. So you might take somebody from, say, America who is a Trumpster, and they espouse all these very racist views. And you could take an Indian person, and in many respects, those views are going to align because Indian people generally tend to hold very racist views. It goes back to the caste system, yes, but it also ties into other aspects because, as I pointed out before, there are the so-called untouchables in India, and Indian people are racist towards them as well. So this is all a very, these are complicated things, and I'm just trying to do my best to share these ideas because we are in terrible times right now in the United States and in the world generally. So I guess Indian people, if you guys want to come for me, come for me. I am not saying anything that's untrue. This is the truth, and I think it's kind of an open secret.
To do something I'm not comfortable.
I just asked you to play music. That's about it. But you can keep driving. No, you're good. You're good.
And you're asking me why you're explaining. What can I do, sir?
All right, you're good.
You are the first passenger I'm having like this.
No, absolutely. I guess I am. You can just keep driving straight. I do apologize.
I'm
Sorry
not
I stressed you.
I'm not comfortable. I will pull over. You cancel the ride and go.
My God.
You gotta call the cops because I'm scared. I'm a man. I'm scared.
I'll pay.
My whole body is shaking the way you are like police over there. I'm gonna call the cops. It's hard to no, I'm not going. I'm not going, and everything is recording over here. My whole body is shaking. I'm on the highway, and you're asking me to do something. I'm not. Again and again and again. No, I'm not going.
Yeah, just.
That's dangerous. You could have hurt me. I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay.
No. Of course not.
I'll pay.
Ma'am, she didn't pay for the ride. I paid for it. I'm scared, ma'am. See, my whole body is shaking. And you guys are opening like windows. I'm the driver. You have to respect me.
I understand that.
It's just hard to do both at the same time. You asking me to do something. I'm not comfortable. What if I'm gonna get in an accident?
Yeah, you're good.
It's not safe. It's not safe.
It's not safe.
I'm saying. I'm explaining.
No, you're right. It's not safe.
And if you insist me, I'm gonna call the cops.
We don't want you to call the cops. It's not safe to do both at the same time.
My whole body is shaking. I'm scared. The way you guys are like forcing me.
Can you get your money back?
She is good. I don't think she is good. You are good to me.
But I paid for the money, so I can't cancel.
Mike, the way he's acting.
I know he's not upset.
Scared. Trust me. I'm scared.
He just wanted the music, but we can't do both at the same time.
And well, you guys are opening window. I'm saying I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable because it's on the highway.
Because you have to like X out of like that screen to hook it up. So it'll be hard.
No, you're good. I mean, I apologize if I offended
whole
you.
Body shape. No, I'm not gonna take you to the destination. What if you guys might hurt me? I'm not comfortable.
He's not angry like that. He's just.
I'm not.
Like,
I'm literally not angry at all.
He's just being stubborn.
I'm
sorry,
really,
ma'am.
You
I'm
are
sorry.
so sweet. Trust me. You are
it's
so,
just because
you
that thing
have
is
to respect the driver. I'm saying I'm not comfortable. That means I'm not comfortable.
No, you're good. You can just drop us off somewhere.
No, you can't do that. You can do that.
I'll get
another
Uber.
It's hard to like.
Listen,
it's like a weird.
I literally have it all.
And as a lady driver, you have to because I'm scared.
No, I get it. You're good. You can just drop us off somewhere.
It's like a screen thing, and you have to like X out of it. To, like,
no, you don't even have to play music. You can just drop us off. We'll just get another Uber. I do apologize.
Yeah, of course I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, no,
What if you hurt me? Because you're so angry person. You are asking me something.
No, I'm a very angry person.
Oh my God.
I'm super angry right now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
There's a lot of traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic. Gotta go straight for 6 more miles, unfortunately.
But that's why I got my headphones so I can play it. But it's just you have to X out of it to like hook it up. You have to accept the phone and the device.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was like my car, then
just,
like
just stop talking. Just stop talking. Just stop talking.
I'm explaining. I explained to him many times that he could get it right because I tried many times. I asked my son how to play that because I want to hear music sometimes.
Yeah, you have to like fiddle with it, so that's hard to do in drive.
Yeah,
you have to like kind of play with it.
But when I don't know if you know, teach me because I want to listen music sometimes.
Yeah, if it's a new like device, it's hard to like figure out how to do it.
No, I don't know what this is like weird. I don't know. Before my previous car,
we just thought it was gonna be easy.
I thought,
I'm sorry.
Listen,
we thought it would be like simple to like just like hook it up once you see it, but it's not like that.
And you know what? I sincerely apologize for the way that I behaved, and that's completely my fault. Will you accept my apology?
Honestly, ma'am. Honestly, to be honest, you just have.
African taxi drivers refuse to give a Black American man a ride. In Washington, D.C., African taxi drivers refuse to give this Black American man a ride, but they're giving white people rides with no hesitation. Check this out.
You drive black people? I'm in D.C. trying to get a cab to go see a show. They put you saw the white people in the car. You drive black people? Drive black people? Huh? Oh, over here to him? Okay, can you drive me to where I need to go? Ask who? I've asked 3 cab drivers. You got white people over here. White people get cabs. So white people are getting cabs before me in Washington, D.C.
So you seeing how those Africans gave that Black American man a runaround. Oh, go talk to that African taxi cab driver. Oh, go talk to this African taxi cab driver. Why this whole time they're accommodating to white folks. Now, this have nothing to do with the white people. This is have everything to do with Africans discriminating against Black Americans. And here we are in Washington, D.C., supposed to be the city, chocolate city. And you have immigrants, Black immigrants discriminating against Black Americans. I see a lot of people on here talking about, well, oh, this is only on the internet. This is only on TikTok. No, this is happening in real life. I hope old boy hit this taxi cab company with the biggest lawsuit because this is not cool for Africans to be discriminating against Black Americans, especially in America, especially in Chocolate City. What are we doing? What are we even talking about?
Yes, you guys don't like Black Americans at all. You guys just say bad things about them. They're criminals. They're from slavery. They are not from Africa. They don't know their home. Oh, you know, it's so sad. All the time, you look at a Black man and you tell them that, oh, you are from America. You are not African. You are not from Africa. You are lost. You are from slavery. I'm not a slave. You are a slave. Shame on you. Shame on you to even open your mouth. Do you know how painful that is? Whether they look like you or they don't look like you, they are your people. And you say to their face that you are not one of me. You are a slave. Wow. Do you know the pain that our ancestors went through? Just because you were not colonized does not mean you should open your mouth to call somebody a slave.
This past weekend was Essence Festival and it was a flop. I want to make this video because I am the dichotomy of Africa and Black America, right? And I'm always going to keep saying the way that people keep disrespecting Black Americans, me being African, I see the way Africans disrespect Black Americans. You guys, see, Africans, the way you guys are always so interested in becoming your white oppressors, even to the counterpart that helped free you. Essence Festival is the pure display of that. First, a Kenyan woman to come in and open her mouth and say, oh, we're making it back to its African roots. Girl, when was it ever not in its African roots? When was it ever not in its African roots? Who are Black Americans? Are they not African? I keep saying Africans, the only reason why you are in America and you are able to have access to wealth, opportunity, success is because of Black Americans. Black Americans are the reason why any of you have an opportunity in America. And the way you guys are seriously disrespecting Black Americans, it don't reach level where I, as an African American, I have had enough of Africans disrespecting Black Americans. What is wrong with you people? What is really going on? As an African woman, whenever I say I grew up in America and I was totally inspired to be amazing and to become who I am today by Black women, all the African women and African people get mad at me and say I'm dick riding Black people. But the truth is, as an African woman embarrass me all the time. I am so embarrassed by African women. So fucking embarrassing. You people are so embarrassing. Black women are the only women I've seen who've really done inspiring shit. All you African women know is wedding, marriage, children. You guys are very useless human beings. Very, very useless. I don't know. Black women, if you look at the more of them that have done amazing, great things, they exist more than African women. And Black women are the ones who gave me the confidence to be great. I love my African people. I love being Nigerian. I love it. But my inspiration of how I became an amazing woman, you guys are always asking how I'm so amazing. Now, Black women do that. Now, Black women, they're the ones who, they scatter my brain in a good way. They put it together.
Shout out to Black Americans, dead ass. I know I've talked about this in the past, but I feel like I don't talk about it enough. And also, I feel like they don't get enough credit. I don't think Black people all around the world understand that the United States is by far the safest country in the world today for Black people to migrate to because of Black Americans, because of their ancestors' sacrifice, including this birthright citizenship that everybody and their mama enjoys, that Donald Trump is trying to get rid of. This was enacted because of Black Americans. And it breaks my heart the way a lot of people come to America and not only turn a blind eye to their plight, but also talk shit and shit on them, in spite of the fact that America is all they know and they're doing their best in a country that was not created for them, most especially Africans. But I'm not trying to get into the diaspora war thing because, like I've mentioned before, this is just a bunch of hurt people hurting people. You have to understand that one of the things that makes Black Americans different from every other Black people is Black Americans are the only group of Black people that actually got to live with white people. Everybody else was left behind in their home countries. I know the Caribbeans were also products of slavery. Those countries, including the Caribbean islands, are majority Blacks. The countries that white people wanted to settle in, especially the United States, the Black people who were forced to be there, they received a heavier dose of fuck shit. And naturally, Black Americans got to witness what it is about humans that made the Bible say the heart of man is desperately wicked. They got to see that massa don't fuck with nobody but massa, Chad. And a lot of these Africans and Caribbeans who migrate to the US are yet to learn this. That's why y'all be just, when you see a white people, we thank God. This is equivalent to a pick-me woman seeing a very sexy man who's tall, dark, and handsome and everything in her dream, that she just opens herself up to him to get knocked up. But then until she gets to his home to see how he lives, she gets to see that he lives like a pig. Dirty dishes, dirty laundry, snores and farts in his sleep, takes the shit and forgets to flush it, doesn't even wipe his ass right. Ooh, yeah. Bad breath in the morning, looking a hot mess. Then you come to see the things that makes him human. And then all of a sudden he ain't shit. But you could have figured that out before you left let him knock you up if you were not so obsessed by his physical image. Girl, you should have asked baby mama number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You thought 11 was going to be the magic number? Yet, in spite of that, Black Americans have been able to persevere and pull away and do their own thing in a country that was not created for them. They have their own art, some of which was taken from them, jazz, hip-hop, rap, their own dialect. And even at that, a lot of the things that they started were stolen from them without credit, destroyed, burned down, called ghetto, and anything but a child of God child. And yet, they still persevere. And to me, this is one of the things that makes them very attractive to me. Like I mentioned before, when I lived in America, Black Americans were my favorite group of people because their audacity, bro, their audacity is so fucking powerful. And I know that this is something that a lot of Black people, a lot of people in general, but especially Africans, judge them for. I want to see how y'all survive being the black sheep of a family that does not want you, that you're required to be a part of. We can all learn from each other because we're in this shit together. We are stronger together. Uche, peace and love.
When you come to America from another country, whether you're red, white, yellow, brown, or black, you recognize the opportunity here that you never had at home, and you take advantage of it, right? I meet African children who've already read the entire physics book before they showed up in America. You see that? Already read the entire engineering book before they showed up in America. So they thirst for the opportunity in a country that appears to promote such. The problem is, sometimes our African immigrant brothers and sisters, and I'm a Pan-Africanist, so I see us all as one family. That doesn't mean that I'm blind to the chauvinisms, the prejudices, and the discriminations that take place. Sometimes our immigrant African brothers and sisters cannot see the obstacles that are placed in the way of the American Africans who built this country from slavery. Sometimes they think they're more successful because they work harder. That's not true. American Africans work just as hard as African immigrants. You know what the difference is? If an African immigrant gets too political in America, he can be deported. The American African can't be deported. We're the only non-white people in America who can't be deported. And because of that, that makes us a permanent threat in this country, thereby the white power structure doing whatever it can to keep us from maximizing our true potential. If you are not an African, then you are not an African. Allowing Caucasians to say, I'm an African because I was born in South Africa, I'm an African because I was born in Ghana, that is absolutely ridiculous. Because the only reason why you were born in South Africa is because what? British and Dutch came here, conquered my ancestors, beat, genocided, enslaved them, stole the resources, and had children on the land that they stole. Just because you broke into my house doesn't make you a member of my family.
The migrant situation in Chicago and New York is being led by the federal government. They're spearheading this to basically erase black people politically. Chicago has the only predominantly black U.S. congressional district in the entire country. That's why Obama had a lane. Carol Moseley Braun had a lane. Most of your modern black senators, we've only had a handful. They came from Chicago because y'all have the only predominantly black U.S. congressional district. So they want to switch that out for Latinos. That's why they're here, to replace us politically. I suspect that at some future point in time, if they're not already doing it, they're going to fast track the migrants in Chicago and New York to full citizenship so they can vote. And I wouldn't be surprised if they'll be eligible to vote in time for next November's presidential election. This is a purge of black by brown, and this is a takeover because Chicago and New York are our two strongest and largest black communities and black consciousness communities. So they want to blot that out. The strategy is if we can take New York and take Chicago, the rest of black America doesn't stand a chance.
If I want to make sure I understood your question. You're asking where will people go when they're here. Right. So I'm gonna answer that. Okay.
Guys, can we give her an opportunity to answer Ms. Matthews' question, please?
So people, the people that we're talking about are human beings just like you.
We know that. We know that. It is not us against them. We don't need you to tell us that. No, we don't need you. We don't need you to tell us that. It's not us against them, and that's the problem we don't care for. that. We are not insensitive, but we got a problem with you thinking you can jam something down our throat.
Go ahead, Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. My question, are you the one to make the decision to take our part?
Hold on.
Okay, let me share this with you. First of all,
Miss Johnson, hold on one second.
First of all,
Miss Johnson, hold on one second.
Okay. You have to be quiet.
Guys, can we have your attention, please?
We don't want them in our community. Let them go back to where they came from. Because it's my position that if you have a problem with your country, then you stay and you make it better by fighting that government, making your government do what it needs to do by its people, because that's what we do in this country. That's what I've been doing all of my life. I don't have any place to run to. America is my home. It's my country. We built it.
The bottom line is when Joe Biden got elected, he said he wanted to fast track 4 million undocumented residents to full citizenship. Black people completely ignored it. I spoke on it. I said, do you know why he want to fast track 4 million? Because he know he's not going to do nothing for us. We ain't going to be motivated to vote for him November. So what he's going to do is have these migrants already set up with citizenship so they can replace the black vote that he loses. The migrants are being put in our communities on purpose, New York and Chicago on purpose, because they are what? The two blackest cities in America. They're the two largest cities in America. They're the two most politically conscious black communities in America. So if we can wash out the black with the brown in New York, if we can wash out the black with the brown in Chicago, Philly don't stand a chance. Atlanta don't stand a chance. LA, Houston, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago don't stand a chance. The migrants are here for 3 reasons. Replace us at the polls. Replace us at the low-end industry jobs, right? See, when Donald Trump said during the debate that Joe Biden is taking black jobs and giving them to migrants, he was correct. Although he didn't say it because he cared about us, but he's right. When people say, what do you mean by black jobs? Get out your bougie feelings and deal with the reality. 1/3 of black men have a felony. So there's a lot of jobs they will never qualify for. They are mostly what? Essential workers, warehouse, trucking, security. And a lot of those jobs are going to who? The migrants. So that's what he meant by black jobs. We got to stop being so sensitive and look at the reality of it. I was reading a report the other day. They said the Latinos taking over the construction jobs. They taking them over. And the low industry work, like your gardening, your landscaping, completely taking it over. They're not the enemy. The problem is black people don't get as much opportunity. So then people say, well, white people don't really like brown people like that. That's true. But you know what the difference is? They don't have the burden of accountability with them that they have with us. We built the country. So every time they look at us or deal with us, the bottom line is y'all brought them here and they built y'all into what y'all are. They don't have to say that to the Venezuelans. They don't have to say that to the Colombians. They don't have to say that to the Mexicans. So although they don't like brown, they will much rather deal with them than the black, because with the black, there is a white man's burden that you owe them restitution for 246 years of unpaid labor. Now let's look at what Eric Adams is doing over there in New York. A family of 4 is getting $1,400 a month. $1,400 a month. Do you know that that's more than what some of the veterans are getting with a child? They're getting more money than veterans who served in the military. Not only that, they're getting free food stamps, free child care, and permanent housing. Although New York City has a black homelessness rate no less than 35%. So you got black people who pay taxes living on the street, and you got migrants who ain't paid a single tax in their life, eating and living better than the black people who built the country. If I was talking to Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson of Chicago, I would ask them something. What is the Democratic Party giving you guys that you're willing to sacrifice your political future to push this migrant agenda? Because I don't see how they get reelected by black folks. I don't see how. And if your city goes to the migrants, you can best believe the migrants ain't electing no black person to mayorship. So you're literally dying on your sword for the Democratic Party. Do you know that New York City has spent $1.5 billion on the migrant crisis so far? It's projected that this year, 2023 was $1.5 billion to take care of migrants. $1.5 billion. 2024 and 2025, they said it will cost New York City $9 billion. Chicago has spent about $350 million this year on the migrant crisis, and that's expected to quadruple. And you know what was so disrespectful about Chicago with regard to Brandon Johnson? Remember all them schools they shut down in Chicago because they said they couldn't afford to operate them?
Mm-hmm.
They opened them up. Not only did they open them up, they renovated them. Turned them into apartments for migrants, so you sleep upstairs, go to school downstairs. How is it that you ain't got money for jobs for black people, which is a big reason why you got so much crime? You got all these homeless black people in Chicago, but you can take care of the migrants before you take care of black people? And that's why I'm hoping that Black Chicago organizes, just like co-founder of the Black Panther Party, Bobby Seale did at the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Bobby Seale turned up and turned it out with the Black Panthers. I hope Chicago doesn't let President Biden and Vice President Harris come there, because you know the Democratic National Convention is in Chicago,
right.
August 19th through August the 21st. I hope Black Chicago don't let the Democrats come to your city where they have bred this migrant crisis and y'all don't do nothing about it. And I'm going to tell you who else needs to stand up and show out. Milwaukee. Even though they don't have a migrant crisis like Chicago and New York, the Republican convention is in Milwaukee next Monday, this coming Monday. And guess what? Milwaukee, black people are the largest ethnic group. Unlike Chicago, it's white, Hispanic, black. But as I travel America, guess what? There's migrant camps in nearly every black community I'm coming across. I was in Kansas City. They got a migrant camp. Philadelphia has a burgeoning one. I just came from Antioch. They have one. Sacramento, they have one. They're popping up all over the place where black people are, because they're going to be the new minorities once America gets rid of us. The second reason they're letting the migrants in is to keep big businesses in America.
Cheap labor.
Absolutely, cheap labor. Because what the corporations is telling the government, if I have to stay here, I got to pay for all kinds of labor insurance. You know, if somebody gets pregnant, they get off. If they have a mental health problem, they get off. I got to pay them. It costs me too much to operate a business in America. If you want me to stay, you better bring some of them brown people from across that border and let me pay them pennies on a dollar under the table. And the reason they love the brown people instead of the black people is because we are an obligation to America. We built it. We built it. So we're an obligation. We're the nuisance that they don't want. But when brown people show up, their ancestors didn't build this country. They come into a place better than the place that they're leaving. They will keep their mouth shut. They will not agitate. They will never become a political problem because they feel it is a blessing just to be here. Capitalism isn't the white man's priority in America. It is racism and white supremacy. There is no amount of money America will not pay to rid itself of the unwanted Negro. People say, look at all the money they spend to keep us in prison. They can spend a third of that and improve the schools. You don't get it. This is not a money game. This is an extermination game. Whatever they must do to get rid of black people, they will do it. You know what the American dream is? The American dream is not a big house and a big car and a big bank account. The American dream is to wake up and walk outside and not see a single black person anywhere in sight. That's the American dream.
It is the stupidity of man to think that he can do evil, even some monstrous evil, and it won't have any backlash on himself. But of course, it seldom works that way. And the moment he figures that out, he starts looking for a way to avoid the repercussions of what he's done. This is what happened with slavery. In the early 1800s, as it began to look like the end of slavery might be on the horizon, white America started to be concerned that a day of reckoning was coming. The primary fear for the average person was of retribution and insurrection, and that was a reasonable fear. After all, it's illogical to think that you can do to a whole group of people what was done to African Americans and think that they will just take it lying down forever. And of course, there were things like the Nat Turner uprisings. But for the wealthy elite, their fears went beyond things like insurrection. They were worried about the financial impact. Remember, it was not just the cotton plantations that profited from slavery. Whether you're talking about the banks or the insurance companies, the railroads, even the newspapers, the fact is that almost every aspect of the American economy was at some level or another invested in the slave business. You also need to recognize that for the wealthy elitist who controlled this system, slaves were an asset as long as they were slaves. But at the moment they are set free, they become a liability. And what the elite knew was that the end of slavery would instantly release 4 million people into the economy who had been kept uneducated and effectively unemployable anywhere but the cotton field. The other fear that these people had was intermarriage between blacks and whites would lead to a loss of racial purity. The question was, what were they going to do about it? And their initial thought was that they would just send all the slaves back to Africa. This plan was called colonization, and it had broad support among the wealthy elite. In fact, the American Colonization Society was even funded by the United States Congress. But in the end, colonization proved to be unworkable, and the idea was eventually scrapped. But about that same time, a new philosophy was emerging in the world. It was called eugenics, and for some, it seemed like the perfect solution to what had become known as the Negro Dilemma.
Don't tell me we don't have money. That's crap. Excuse my expression. Crap.
It is what it is. You gotta call it like it is.
Now look at this.
Bull crap at that.
Well,
Right.
thank you, sir. $1.1 trillion comes through black hands.
That's right.
This year. So don't say we don't have money. We don't have unity. Right. And if we had unity and pooled our money, then we could begin to take control of where we live. If we don't have money, why are the Arabs here? If we don't have money, why are the Koreans here? Right. If we don't have money, why is every immigrant that comes to America find their way into the black community to build their empire, their American dream on the black nightmare? So we have got to change that reality.
Yes, this is really important. Asian Americans were redlined from opening businesses in white neighborhoods because white people didn't want Asian Americans operating in their neighborhoods and didn't want Asian Americans profiting off of white people. But because the positionality of Asian Americans is weaponized to oppress black people, Asian Americans were being given loans to open businesses in black communities, even though black people were not able to receive loans to open businesses in their own communities. And as I've said before, as a result of this, black wealth is essentially paid out twice when it goes to Asian American businesses. Once when the individual pays for the goods or services, and then again when the Asian American business owner removes the profit from the community. Because usually people open businesses in their own communities, and this is mutually beneficial, where the business owner is making a livelihood off of providing goods and services to their community, and by being a member of the community, they're contributing and they're investing back into the community. This is an ideal situation, and that is not what happens with Asian American businesses operating in black communities. Obviously, the issue of Asian American-owned businesses operating in black communities is a huge source of tension because it is part of the daily violence faced by black people in their own communities when they are disrespected as customers, to the literal physical violence, as was the case of the salon in Brooklyn, where a black woman was locked into the salon by workers while they beat her with broomsticks, to the damage done to the psyches of particularly black children when they are accused of shoplifting. And this isn't a topic that I'm going to be able to cover in one video, but it is a conversation that I do want to start. I think that if you ask some people what was the source of the tension, they'll say the LA riots and what happened in Koreatown, but you cannot mention the LA riots without recognizing the unaliving of Latasha Harlins the year before. A 15-year-old girl who was unalived by an Asian shop owner who thought that she was shoplifting orange juice, but the money to pay for the orange juice was in her hand when she was unalived. To overlook that is to value profit and property over black bodies, which is at the root of the United States systemically racist system and capitalism. But I think that we have to go all the way back to the Civil Rights Amendment of 1964 and then the opening of Asian immigration in 1965. So in 1964, white power structure almost faced accountability to Black people. Black people should have started to be able to receive loans to open businesses in their own communities. But instead, in 1965, the United States opened the door to Asian immigration, and redlining meant that Asian Americans were receiving business loans, but only to open businesses in Black communities, and Black people were still not receiving loans to open businesses in their own communities. So where you have this weaponized positionality of Asian Americans being put in Black people's way, of course you are going to have resentment not only over the supplanted opportunity to open businesses in their communities, but also over the fact that the Black dollar is now being paid out twice. Once when the customer pays for the goods or services, and then again when the Asian business owner removes that wealth from the Black community. And I frequently heard the tension being framed as mutual misunderstanding, where these Asian shop owners didn't know about the civil rights struggles of Black people, and Black people were not familiar with the culture of Asian business owners. But I don't think that it can be framed as mutual misunderstanding where there is an uneven power dynamic. You have one demographic that is the business owners, and you have the other demographic that is having to pay. So where there is uneven power, I don't think that it's accurate to frame it as mutual misunderstanding.
I'm that type of person that's gonna have your back all day long, but when it comes time to hold your feet to the fire, I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire, and the time has come. So gather around, listen up, let me learn you something. Birthright citizenship, it had to be started because of Black people. Birthright citizenship is tied to slavery. Before the Civil War, Black people, enslaved or free, weren't considered people. They weren't considered citizens. This is Dred Scott. Dred Scott fought for our right to exist as people in this country. Dred Scott and his wife Harriet sued for their freedom. He was a slave, bought and sold like a piece of property. In 1857, the Supreme Court made sure we knew where we stood, saying that no Black person, free or enslaved, could ever be a U.S. citizen. But after the Civil War, Congress passed the 14th Amendment in 1868 to explicitly overturn Dred Scott and make sure that anybody that's born on U.S. soil is automatically a U.S. citizen. This was about making sure that formerly enslaved Black Americans could never have their citizenship stripped from them again. And yet here we are, watching people try to undo all of that work. We know they put a block on it. How long is that going to last? They say it's about immigration. Let's be real, if they can strip it from one group, who's next? Birthright citizenship is a correction, a promise that no one born here could be denied their place. And if we let them rewrite that, we're erasing the very foundation of freedom in this country.
And this is why they hate blacks in America so much, the white power structure. We're the only non-white people in the country who cannot be sent home. Right. You cannot be deported. Slavery destroyed your cultural, psychological, and intellectual connection to your ancestral homeland. If the Ghanaian get on your nerve, he go back to Ghana. If the Puerto Rican gets on your nerves, he go back to Puerto Rico. If the Afro-Cuban gets on your nerves, he or she go back to Cuba. If the Chinese get on your nerves, send them back to China. If the East Indian gets on your nerves, send them back to India. If the Arab gets on your nerve, send them back to one of the Middle Eastern states. But when American Africans get on your nerves, where do you deport us to? Most American Africans are so brainwashed, they think they're American. So you cannot deport them because this is what they identify with most. So in other words, the white man created his own problem, which makes it almost impossible to deport us. So the only way to get rid of us is a systemic system of racial genocide, and that's what they're using.